In this episode, we're going to install GnuCOBOL and write our first COBOL program. Bet you never thought you'd hear that in 2021, did you? Hi gang, how the heck are you doing? John Lotshaw, Crackpot Computing here, and welcome to Crackpot Computing's Retro Coding, Adventures in COBOL. In this series, we're going to learn how to program in COBOL, the common business-oriented language. Now, I know not everybody is going to have a 20-year-old vintage PC or maybe even a 60-year-old mainframe lying around, but that's okay, because thanks to GnuCOBOL, even modern computers can get in on the joys of data processing. First thing you'll need to do is download GnuCOBOL. GnuCOBOL is a compiler that enables your COBOL code to be compiled into an executable file, which won't require a compiler or interpreter to run. It's available for all major operating systems, including Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. You can download the latest version by going in your browser to sourceforge.net/projects/GnuCOBOL/files and clicking on the green Download Latest Version button. Now, this version will have to be compiled for your system. There's instructions included with the archive on how to do this. However, if you're on Windows, there are pre-compiled binaries available at arnoldtremblay/gnucobol.htm. The instructions for installing and adding GnuCOBOL to your system's path are included. Before we begin, let's take a brief look at the basic structure of a COBOL program. A COBOL program has 4 parts, referred to as divisions. They are Identification Division, Environment Division, Data Division, and Procedure Division. The Identification Division identifies what the program is and who wrote it. This division is mandatory. The Environment Division describes the computer, the compiler, and the configuration needed to interface with other programs in the outside world. It also allows for code in other programs to be brought in and included at compile time. The Data Division defines the variables the program will be using, as well as the file format for persistent storage and intercommunication. This division, like Environment before it, is optional. Finally, the Procedure Division holds all the code that describes the logic of the program, as well as how the program will interact with the user. The Procedure Division is mandatory. It wouldn't make much sense to write a computer program and not have the program, right? A COBOL program will be written as an ASCII text file. When it's ready, it's then compiled using, drumroll please, a COBOL compiler. This program will scan through the text and analyze it, converting the high-level, human-readable English-like COBOL into machine code. If there are no errors, the compiler will usually create an object file, which is a machine language program, but without the libraries needed to do things like interface with the file system or put text on the screen. At this point, the object file will either be run using a COBOL runtime, which gives access to those libraries, or it'll be run through a linker, which will create a standalone executable program. GnuCOBOL can combine these steps together to directly generate an executable file. Traditionally, the first program you write when trying out a new language is called Hello World. It's a very simple program which just prints the phrase Hello World on the screen. Let's write this in COBOL. First, let's load up Visual Studio Code. We'll create a blank file, and we'll call it hello.cob. That opens it in the editor. Now we'll start coding. First, we start with the identification division. Then we add the program ID clause, and then follow it by the program name. We won't be using an environment or data division in this program, so we'll jump right to the procedure division. Underneath the heading procedure division, we'll add display hello world. Finally, we'll let the compiler know that the program is over with stop run. Make sure you put a return at the end of that line or you'll generate an error. Now we're ready to compile. We open up a terminal and make sure that we're in the directory that hello.cob was saved in. There it is, right there. Now, type this command. COBC space /x /F hello.cob. COBC is the file name of the compiler. -X is the compiler option that tells GnuCOBOL to produce a standalone executable file. -F instructs GnuCOBOL to use free-form formatting, and hello.cob is the source file we want to compile. Now let's press return, and a fraction of a second later, we have an error. Well, there. Okay, just needed an extra space. Okay, so the blank line means that we now have an executable, and if we do dir, we now see hello.exe, and you can see it's significantly bigger than hello.cob was. That's because everything needed to interface with the screen and everything that needs to be done is now included in that program. So if I just type hello, there it is. It's not much, but that's exactly what we told it to do. Our first COBOL program. Of course, that program is nowhere near as useful as what we'll be eventually able to create, but you gotta start somewhere, right? Next time, we'll extend the Hello World program by adding some interactivity and defining a few variables. Make sure you don't miss any future episodes of Adventures in COBOL. Hit the subscribe button and click on the bell to get notified when there's new episodes uploaded. And also, really appreciate it if you hit the like button. That helps YouTube get these episodes out to people who might be interested in this. Until next time, this is John Latshaw with Crackpot Computing saying, happy coding.